Hey, what's up, homie Stromy? I know you know me. Once again, I'm back in the house. I was trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before I broke it down to you people that, have subscribed. I was telling my man Ray that I wanted to get to at least 1,000 subscribers before I recorded this podcast, episode 4 of what I've been reminiscing about, my youth, my teen life, and how I got into the game. But then I realized I ain't doing this for money because, YouTube will give you a couple of bucks once you get to 1,000 subscribers. And depending on how many views you get after that, they'll start giving you some chump change. But you never know. You know what I'm saying? So it goes like this. My homie sent me a clip, a picture of a book, which was the one I used to call this, I will say, serious, biographical series of when the heights got, I will say, infested with the crack epidemic and how we were part of that and how I got into the game. So I will tell my side of the story. If any one of y'all knows something different than from what I know, we got the comment box. You can comment there. You can share stories. After I do this episode, we're just gonna get into a regular podcast, and I'm fixing up a studio right now so I can share with some of the homies maybe some history about their life, or maybe we can just talk about that era that we lived, not the one that is being living now, because most of us OGs have been deported. I know there's a couple that are still out there, but that's because they were born in the States or never did time, which is great, So when my homie sent me this book and I started looking at, what it meant to our history, I was like, damn, these people writing books, you got Dead on Delivery, which is the book that I am using the title for the series, The Untold Story. This is from my point of view. And you got another book there called The Wild Cowboys. I won't talk about the Wild Cowboys because when they came into the game, I was doing time upstate. Even though when I came out, they was rocking the house and they looked out for me. And sorry to say that most of them, I put them into the game, which is something, I regret now because some are dead, others are doing life. We'll never see the day of light again. And it is not something that I can, boast about or feel proud about. But let me get into my story, what I lived. You got to remember that 79, then came 1980, and a new era started. Between 1980 1985, there was nothing but, being a stick-up kid, trying to wear them Adidas suits, having bikes, which we never bought. You know how we got them. And we got heavy into the drug game as users. By the time I was 19, I was doing heroin. I already had an episode where we spoke about Black Sunday in those days. And my mom's brought me to DR. I kicked the habit, I think 1983. Kicked the habit. And I went back. I started working for my brother and his wife at the time, Jocelyn, may she rest in peace. They used to have this business where they used to buy chandeliers, glasses, cups, and stuff like that, and resell it wholesale. I started, sniffing again, and I got hooked again. Because all you need to do is sniff 3 days in a row. The fourth day, you gotta have it. That monkey's gonna be on your back, and you're gonna be fucked up. So my mom decided to bring me back to DR. This time she came with me, bought me a scooter down here so I could chill. She came to receive a house that she and my stepfather at the time, Bartolo, shout out to him. And I kicked the habit again. I started going to the gym. I was working out. I was down here for 3 months, I would say. And in those 3 months, I got pretty solid. Because I was a skinny motherfucker. But I could fight, though. Now shoot your ass. Stab you. I didn't give a fuck. I think I'm kind of retarded or something, man. I didn't know what fear was back in the days. And now that I'm old, I'm like, damn, I'm going to die soon. Before, I didn't give a fuck. But I met up with the homies at the disco down here. And we went to this monument that we got in Santiago. We was chilling. We was eating some burgers and barbecue chicken and stuff like that. And some regular, I would say, civilian folks got stupid. And you got to remember, these homeboys, they knew how to box. Because they was down on 163rd in Colon's gym, practicing and going for them golden gloves. So they knew how to box. I knew how to street fight. They got stupid. Homie was like, yo, why, we over here chilling, man, eating burgers. Why you getting all hype and shit? Check this his waist to see if he was acting tough because he was strapped or something. And hit him once. Bang! When his homeboy tried to get stupid, I jumped in. I was sitting on my scooter. I jumped in, and homie saw me, which he knew what I was all about from way back in the days. Remember, before I got into this game, I was already Mike the Dome. I had a motherfucking reputation since 1977. You know what I'm saying? But I used to like getting high too much. But this time, I was working out. I was smoking, smoking a little weed, but that was about it down here, drinking rum and stuff like that, whiskey, whatever. But nothing that, will get you hooked and shit like that. So I punched this dude. I knocked him the fuck out. So I'm a big motherfucker. But since I was working out, I was like, Urgh. Like these niggas, when they come from prison, they be buffed. That's how I was. Remember, I had kicked the habit. And when you kick the habit, you eat like a motherfucker. And I started working out. So in this workout and eating and, having the munchies, I got big. So homeboy came to my house after that weekend. This was 1985. And he was like, yo, Mike, what's up? Dang, you don't be looking for me. You be down here. And, we known each other since 1977 when you used to hang out in my building on 173rd. And I was like, nah, homie, you a businessman. I just came down here to kick the habit and, working out. And he said, yeah, but, I've known you. I want you to come back to the States and work with me. I was like, all right, bet. So that's how I got into the game. After that, we took a plane right here in Santiago, local airport. We went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, we got an American Airlines jumbo jet. And we ended up on 173rd and Audubon. Remember, my mom's was already here, retired. So the little house I lived in on 171st, she had given it back to its original owners. So I had to live at this apartment on 173rd and Audubon, 165. Damn, that was a crazy place to live at. It was just like a headquarters. Nothing was done there. It was like a meat place, hanging out place, but, nothing was done at that apartment. And the first thing we did was, homeboy had some beef with his ex-woman and some dude that was, making her life impossible. So he was like, yo, Mike, let's go up the block. We went to 186 and Audubon. Nigga came out with a bat from the car. Right in front of the bodega. To hit the dude with the bat. But the dude, squared up. So he said, oh, you wanna fight? So he let the bat go. I grabbed that bat and I was like, nobody better jump in. They had a fight. Boom, bam, boom, bam. Remember, this dude knew how to box. So after, he knocked this dude out, we left. I wasn't doing anything as like working or anything like that. I was just hanging out with homie. And then after that, my job was basically checking up on the spot, 174, as the strong man, like a dude that had respect. That even though people knew that I was hooked back in the day, they knew I would put a cap in your ass if you fuck with me, because I was retarded. You know what I'm saying? I was retarded. So I would just go up, everything cool, okay, pop, go back down. It was nothing happening back then. They was just selling blow, dimes, 20s, half a grams. Big time customers were dealt with on 176 in St. Nick. Sulfi, I mentioned his name because Sulfi died. Sulfi and some fat kid from Venezuela. I came to find out he was from Venezuela down here when some of my homeboys told me. I was like, damn. I thought that nigga was Dominican too. So on one of those, let me go check the spot. I go in there, everything cool. Damn, man. TNT, I don't know who the fuck, came knocking down the door. There was like, everybody was in there, man, that day. We was like on the third floor. We started jumping out the window. One dude jumped out the window, broke his leg. He used to be a musician for Los Hermanos Rosario and shit. And he stood over there and started working. He broke his leg. Another homeboy who's down here also, I see him working in Punta Cana somewhere as a tourist guy. He jumped. He had some good sneakers on because he was the only one that got away. I was able to hang from the third floor window and grab the second floor window, which was an abandoned apartment, and sneak into the kitchen there. They came in, they knocked that door down and grabbed my ass. So we ended up all going in, I think maybe 7 of us. Somebody had made a sale and I wasn't, part of it. So I was able to play it off like I was there, as a customer. We all came out. But they thought, they didn't believe me that I said I was a customer because I was GQ that day. So they thought I was the owner or some shit like that. But I was like, nah, I went in there to cop. And we all came out, but I had that case. I mean, they let you go, but, you got a case. This was my job. I need to be honest with you. I only worked the streets for maybe 6 months, because when I went, it was maybe June or July, and I was only there till maybe November, because in December I came down here. December of '85, I came down here. So all the shit that happened of the people that know Mike the Dome, the people that heard of the shit that I did, happened between 4 to 5 months. That's it. I mean, my history goes way back to 1977 when I was 12 and I was part of a gang. But the history of Mike the Dome in the game was only from June to November or December or July to December. Because I remember clearly when we went in 1985, it was summertime. I remember because I used to wear those. Remember 1985, they had those Hawaiian get-ups. You would put a shirt and like a Bermuda, the same like palm trees and shit like that. That was a style. I used I used to have a whole bunch of them little shits. And I remember it was summertime. So after we was, rocking the house, dealing blow and doing what we had to do, some kids from 189, 190, I know that's where they lived up there. I think one was Chucho, name like that, Chucho, and another one was Frankie, not Frankie Ferrari, but another kid. They came and they told homeboy, yo, this is what's up. And he was like, what the fuck is that? They was like, yo, this is crack. He was like, yeah. I said, yo, we came to you because we done got the strength to supply this spot that we got. Maybe we can do some business. You give us the shit cooked up. We sell it. I don't know the terms that they came to, but this is how the crack came into the organization by these two kids. And they ended up cooking 5 grams on the motherfucking test tube. Cut it up with the gem, put it in these red vials, I remember. And these kids took that shit back to the spot. They were back half an hour later, man. And homie was like, what's up? What happened? We're like, we sold it already. You gotta remember, back in those days, all you sold was dimes, 20s, sometimes half a gram, sometimes a gram, but most of the shit that people copped was dimes and 20s. Because money wasn't going around like that. So to sell 5 grams in less than half an hour, when they came back and told homie, yo, that shit was sold, he was like, oh shit, this is the future. Cooked up another 5 on the same test tube. It wasn't a test tube, it was like a vial that they used to sell in the smoke shop. Maybe about the size of this right here. And he gave it to them, and they went, and they weren't even able to get off the cab when they got there. Because the people that tried it, were waiting for them because they said, we're going to go get some more. Them motherfuckers was hooked on that shit. So they came back right away. So homie said, oh shit, that's it. That same day he sent and he bought, I think, a case of them test tubes. And they started cooking 5 by 5. And they started giving it to these kids. I don't know how many days or weeks went by when one of them, the one called Frankie, took some money to buy a car. I guess he felt, it was his spot. And homie was probably like using them as workers, like he used us. And homie felt like, it was his spot. So he took some money and bought a car. I don't even remember what type of car. But the money came back short because of that shit. Oh, that was it. Their biggest mistake. Sent me and another homie, and we just took over the shit. Said, yo, man, can work like this. You gotta go. This is ours now. This your payment would be leaving and we taking over. So we took over, and me and homie used to, take turns managing the shit. And that business just blew up. I mean, I'm talking about summer '85. Just blew the fuck up. It went from test tubes to Mr. Coffee Pots and shit. Cooking up that shit. A lot of people say that homie invented that. He didn't invent that. He was taught how to do it. He was a wise motherfucking businessman. He started putting that shit on little plastic bags, putting a label. Putting a label on this shit. Yo, back in the day, we would make presentation cards with the address. Damn. With the address. Yo. Jumbo crack. Like if it was a motherfucking legal business, man, we would make motherfucking presentation cards, man. Check it out, man. Jumbo. Come get your jumbo. And business started going good. Damn. That was a lot of fucking money. I was the first one after the two big dogs. They had their shit on lockdown. They was driving around Porsche, Benz, Audi 5000. And I was the next one to get me a fly car. Remember, I was 20 years old in 1985. Bought me a white RX-7 with the dopest sound system in the neighborhood. I remember going around the neighborhood with Lisa and Coat Jam, listening to Laddie Daddy. We like to party. Oh, shit. And some of those merengues that we heard back in the days. The shit was crazy, man. We started going into clubs and we thought we owned the motherfuckers. We would smack anybody that got in our way. And we had a lot of rumbles and a lot of shit because we used to get drunk in them clubs, man. Me, I was hooked on Remy Martin. I would always walk around with a 32-ounce Remy on weekends. I never left the weed though, man. Because that's what kept me, like, I was always hype. But the weed used to mellow me down. And we started going to clubs and we started opening up more spots, and shit was blowing up. Everybody was making money. And, we were young. We were used. We used to risk our lives for a motherfucking basic salary. And there was a lot of things that went down that started getting kind of crazy. One homeboy, when he was going down to the spot, had some Jamaicans in there, and when he knocked and they opened up the door, he saw, that it wasn't the worker that was supposed to be in the apartment. He went to pull out, but they already had a shotgun in their hand, so they shot him, and homie, that was the first casualty. And I remember, man, going down there, the crew locking down the block, shooting up oh man, shit started getting stupid and crazy. One day my homeboy went down there and they stopped him. They said, yo, man, we don't want to see you around here, blasey, blasey, blasey. So he came back in the neighborhood. He was like, yo, this and this happened to me. And I was like, oh, shit. Homie said, yo, Mike, you going to let that shit happen? Damn, man. How stupid could we get? Fighting and risking our lives for shit that wasn't even ours, man, for a motherfucking salary. And I was like, hell no. Give me that shit. Man, we went down there. And when we went down there, homie was like, yo, man, you know, we could talk this out. And I was like, yeah, we could talk this out. But you wasn't trying to talk this out when my homeboy was alone, motherfucker. Now you want to talk it out? Nigga tried to go for my bag, and you know what happened. So we ended up going back in the neighborhood, and at that time people knew, yo, don't fuck around with Mike the Don. This nigga on some Rambo shit. Ah, shit, man. I remember, man, I told you from the beginning, I would put a cap in your ass. I would put a cap in your ass, you know? So after that happened, we just kept on working, and a lot of different people started coming into the game, a lot of fighting in the clubs. That's where we were stupid. Because we were supposed to go to the club, get the girls, and, you know, just live our life. But we was these kids going into the club with maybe $3,000 in our pockets, 1985. And instead of enjoying the party, we was looking for trouble. 20-year-old kids, and some even younger, 16, 17 and shit, going into the clubs, you know, acting stupid. I remember I had a warrant. After coming from a club, we had a rumble, had a fight. The warrant squad somehow knew the number of where I was at. They called, you want to speak to Mike? I was, yeah, he's speaking. This and this and that, man. I was so drunk. I said, oh yeah, come pick me up. God damn. I went into Rikers Island for a few days. They bailed me out. I came out, and I knew I had this case from the apartment. And then, you know, I opened up another spot. And some crazy shit happened in that spot. You know, I don't want to get into too many details or, you know, addresses or nothing like that. But I was going down there one day on my RX-7. And I told this kid, which didn't even work for us, his name was Leo. Yo, man, you want to come with me downtown? He was like, yeah, what's up? Chill. He got on. Man, I just got up to 172nd in Amsterdam when they surrounded my car. They opened up the car, took me get out of the car, and damn, I had a little 25 automatic, man. You know, one of those them little stashes that you would, you know, have in your pocket. So they ended up taking me and taking homeboy. And I was like, yo, he don't got nothing to do with that. You know, that's mine. So I was giving him a ride. They, you know, they wasn't going for none of that shit. They put us both in there. So now I got this case. I got the case of jumping out the window. Plus, I had another case, um, probation violation or some shit like that. I had like 3 cases. So this was maybe November, December. It was already winter time. So I ended up coming down here to Dominican Republic because I knew I was hot. You know, down here all we did was disco, beach, having get-togethers, eating sancocho and shit. And I was given a mission December of 1985 to go talk to my homeboy Manny 173rd, may he rest in peace. He died down here from some health issues. I don't recall what it was, but Manny was maybe like 2 years older than me. And when I got over there, my sister, you know, she was married to this dude from Macorís and shit, big shot. She was living with him. And she was like, yo, Mike, you need to start working for people, making other niggas rich, and you risking your life. Listen, you my little brother, but you should get together with your brother, my older brother, and you got the knowledge, you got the cojones, you need to work for yourself. I was like, yeah, but I don't got the type of money to, you know, back in those days. A key wasn't $17,000 or 15 or 19, how it got later on in life. So she was like, nah, we got you. She showed me this motherfucking luggage filled. I was like, oh shit. I forgot about the mission. I forgot about the mission, and I came back to DR and I said, man, yo, I ain't working for you guys no more, man. I'm going to go solo. And believe it or not, man, I went back in January of 1986. And I cooked up what my brother-in-law at the time gave me with my brother. And we started working the block, man. I remember Eminem Jumbo Crack. He used to make motherfucking presentation cards. Yo, come get your Eminem Jumbo Crack. Oh, we used to motherfucking give it names, bro. Crazy. At that time, it wasn't much known of what it was. And you know what we had in the apartments? Microwave. Because since it was in plastic vials, if the popo came, all we did was we throw the stash inside the microwave, put it on high, and that plastic would melt. So it was impossible to use as evidence. This is what we did back in 1985. We thought that the police didn't know what the fuck that shit was. I don't know if they knew, but back in the days, we were some crazy motherfuckers. So we started working. The shit was gone in less than a week, what they gave us. And we went for a second batch. And then I had this little girlfriend since I was 15 till like maybe till like I was like 17. She was a Cuban girl from my block. We left each other when I got kind of retarded with that angel dust. And she started going out with some other dude from 184. But now she wasn't with this dude, and now she wanted to come back to me, and I was like, nah, bitch. When I needed you, you diss me. So don't come to me now and shit. So I was going out with this other girl from 173rd. And she was jealous because of that. I'm not saying, you know, that I had the best woman in life. But she was jealous because of that. So she ended up calling the motherfucking Warren squad, man, and saying, listen, you're looking for Mike? I know where he's at. So one day I'm counting some money, and these motherfuckers just walked up to me and said, hi, Mike. I was like, oh, shit. How did you know? I was shocked. And they was like, if you knew, if you only knew. I was like, oh, shit, man. So they grabbed me, and I had this case for the jumping out the window. I had the case of the 25 automatic on my RX-7, and I had the probation violation, I think it was. I know I had 3 cases altogether. So they put this lawyer to represent me. I remember his name, Weinstein. And I told him, listen, man, I'm nobody. I'm just a 20-year-old kid. But out of all my people, I'm the one that has been arrested the most, because I've been getting busted since I was like 12 and shit when I was doing gangs. And I was like, if you do right for me, everybody's gonna come to you, because everybody knows in the neighborhood that I got the worst record. So what he did was he took all 3 cases, separated them, got me running concurrent, you know, 1 for this, 2 to 4 for this, 2 to 4 for that, running concurrent. So I ended up doing 2 years. This girl that snitched on me started coming to visit me, taking care of my needs. She would bring me whatever the fuck I said. She even came down here to the ER because my mom was suffering, to tell my mom, don't worry, I'm taking care of him. What the fuck did I know? That she felt guilty. That by her making that phone call, I ended up upstate. But I didn't know. I used to receive her. She used to bring, man, I used to have one of the dopest cells in Comstock. They used to call me Mikey GQ. I always had money. Plus my homeboys from the Wild Cowboys started making money. They took care of me, man. They made sure I had my commissary. And they made sure that I didn't lack nothing. That's why till this day, whatever has happened, I will always say, them dudes are my friends. In 87, a counselor comes to my cell and tells me, you got a phone call, or you need to make a phone call to this number and called Linda. Linda was my the girl at the time that was visiting me. I wouldn't say she was my girl because I wasn't with her when I got busted, but she was the one looking out for me. But I didn't know it was because she felt guilty that I was doing time because she snitched on me. So when I got on the phone, it was her sister, and she was like, "Yo, Mike, did you know?" I was like, "No, what?" My sister's dead. I was like, "What? How?" She fell out a window, blasey, blasey, blasey. She told this, and I was like, "Oh, shit. What the fuck?" So I started getting, letters from some of her friends. "Oh, Mike, blah, blah, blah." And, people started telling me all kinds of stories about, what had happened. But, I was locked up. I didn't know what the fuck. I came home in 1988, and one of my homeboys said, "Yo, Mike, how did you get busted?" And I told him, "Ah, man, I was on the corner there, man. Then these niggas just got off the car, came up to me like if I was waiting for them and shit." And he was like, "How did that happen?" I was like, "I don't know. I had a warrant. Had 2 warrants, as a matter of fact. Or 3. He was like, "Yo, it was such and such girl." I said, "Get the fuck out of here. How the fuck did you know that?" He said, "Because, she went to visit me one day since she knew that you and me, were tight. Because she felt guilty and she didn't know who to confess this shit to." And I was like, damn, no wonder she was coming down to DR, giving my mother strength and looking now and always giving me whatever I asked for. Holy shit. So after that, I didn't feel sorry no more that, what had happened to her. Because I was like, you ruined my life. Because, okay, if I would have gotten busted, I would have gotten busted. But, by you snitching on me, you ruined my life. Because after that, what the fuck else could I do? Now I'm a motherfucking convict or ex-con. Now I got a record. I try to go legit, having a job with this company that use ex-cons, to do contract work, and they wanted to pay you pennies. So I just got back into the game in 88, 89. Started doing crazy shit in the Bronx. And I got busted again 1990. But in those 2 years, 88, 89, man, I was rocking the bells, you know what I'm saying? Had me a little Mercedes, baby Benz. Remember the baby Benz? I had a little baby Benz. And I was making money. This time I wasn't working for nobody. I had my own shit, lived on a duplex apartment. And I thought I had it made. But to be honest with you, living that life, when you driving a car I remember I paid for that car like $18,000 back in 1989. $18,000. And you will be driving, and if you heard the siren, whoop, whoop, you would get all fucking nervous. I mean, you didn't steal the car. You bought it, even though it was for drug money. You bought it. But every time you heard that siren, you thought it was for you. So that's not no life. You know what I'm saying? I was driving around in my Benz and girls jumped on your shit. Because I remember some girls that didn't give me the time of day when they saw me in my little royal blue baby Benz. They was like, Mike, in a Benz? And you ain't take me to the movies yet? I was like, yeah. And I ain't taking you now, bitch. I left a couple of girls flat waiting for me. I was like, okay, wait for me Sunday afternoon. We're going to go down to Times Square and catch a movie. I would leave them waiting. What the fuck? So, like I said, I ain't giving out too much details. I'm just saying, this is how the crack got introduced to the organization that I was working for. This is how the neighborhood got infested with this shit. Because I remember when we started, we used to sell it downtown. When I came home in '88, all the structure was gone. Now you had the wild cowboys running the streets. But between '86 till '88, when I came out in February, I would say, in '87, that whole organization was cracked down on. They started putting in some hicks to work, and when they got busted, some of them hicks started snitching and talking, and I was reading this shit in the paper. I remember 1987, I was in Comstock. That shit came out on the New York Post. The king of crack and shit. I was like, God damn. And this time it wasn't no state shit. This time it was motherfucking RICO with the feds. Damn, and some of my homies got sentenced to 30. Whoa. At that time, they had this law that they didn't end up doing the whole shit. But these were young kids, man. Talking about 18, 19-year-old kids. Ended up doing 12, 13, 14, 15, 10 years. And coming home after that and have nothing to your name. They got motherfucking robbed of their young life. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just telling a little bit of my story of how the crack came and infested the neighborhood. Because when I came home in '88, girls that I used to admire and like, I saw into the crack and they was all fucked up. I was like, damn. They look ratchet. But that's how the crack game went. Some niggas got rich, other people got destroyed. So let me just let you know, I ain't mentioning no names, just telling my side of the story. If you got any stories that you lived in '85, leave it down on the comment box. Subscribe to the channel, comment, hit the like button, share. And from now on, I'm going to be sharing in this podcast about Washington Heights. No more of that life. I left that shit behind back in the '80s, '90s. You know what I'm saying? So I'll check you out on the next episode, which will be maybe about music from the Heights or stories from other friends from the Heights. So, like I done always, I'm Mike the Dome. Peace.